Today will be the video about altcoins once again because we were waiting for the rise of altcoins for a couple of weeks already after their huge dump. We had a first wave and now we're seemingly having a second wave. And also people were asking about different altcoins, so there you go. Before that, just a couple of words about Bitcoin. And you remember last video I was saying that we need to have either the correction or the sideways price action because the current rise doesn't seem to be convincing. Of course, I may be wrong and I wish to be wrong, but an important point also to notice here is that if you look at the Bollinger Bands, you would see that every time after the huge move in the recent months we had, well, it's actually not only recent month, but in general this is the logic of the market and how this indicator works. So during the huge rise, the Bollinger Bands upper and lower band difference becomes wider, and then during the consolidation period this delta is getting narrower, and only then the new move is happening. The same happens here. You see the narrow delta, the same here, actually even here. The only difference happens when the long trend changes and we see the reversal, like here. So if there would not be a correction of this huge move, like a significant correction, which with analogy to this will bring us to something like $7,000, then would probably wait until the baseline of the Bollinger Bands will meet the price, and you see now it is aimed to something like $8,500. At this point the price may stay for a while and then we may see another move to the upside, if of course there will be no correction to cool down all that rising price action. Now let's talk about altcoins, and the first thing which I was going to mention today is the Bitcoin dominance. As you see, this formation appeared to be not the bear pennant but seemingly a bear flag. Now we have this formation broken and it seems like the target for that is like 55%, and it's reasonable level. Actually Bitcoin was there for a while before, but in fact I think if the altcoins will gain momentum we will see even continuation of this, maybe after some pullback to even lower levels of Bitcoin dominance, so altcoins may grow even more. I wouldn't say that it will happen like within a couple of days, it may be an extended process, but this is what technical analysis tells us. Now, what I was going to show you today is an interesting analogy between the altcoins behavior and Bitcoin behavior, and let's look at 2015, 2016. So after the bottom of Bitcoin in January 2015, we had the price touch the baseline of Bollinger Bands on the weekly time frame, 1-2 attempts, and then finally Bitcoin broke it with a huge move to the upside, and then it appeared to be too strong, and then we had a correction. After this correction, the second attempt of breaking the baseline was very successful and we had even a stronger rally. After that, Bitcoin price was never below, well, far below than Bollinger Bands baseline. Right now, while Bitcoin is well above this line, altcoins are seemingly doing the same thing which Bitcoin did in 2015. For example, Cardano. You can see that this was the bear market. The price went to test the baseline of Bollinger Bands on the weekly time frame, surged up to the upper band, and then had a first correction below the baseline, and now it seemingly have a chance to go upwards again and break the baseline once again. In fact, if you look at the stochastic oscillator and RSI, you would see that now they are very low and we have the intersection indicating to the price going up for stochastic and RSI as well. And this situation is very similar for all the other altcoins. For example, Stellar, also stochastic is low, RSI is low. You see the Bollinger Bands structure. It had an attempt to break the baseline, didn't work, had a correction, now we have a second attempt. NEO, very similar picture, breakout through the baseline, appearing to be a failed attempt, the correction, and now we are bouncing from the upper band of Bollinger Bands with stochastic and RSI showing the signs of reversal. And I can count those altcoins showing pretty much the same pattern in terms of the Bollinger Bands and the other indicators like IOTA, also having the descending wedge, which is actually very close. This resistance line is very close to the baseline of the Bollinger Bands. XRP, pretty much similar. Ether, very similar as well, and so on and so forth. I personally like also how Zilliqa looks because you see this huge volume at the very bottom, and it happens despite the mining process which was launched recently for Zilliqa. So again, if this baseline will be broken, I think then the price will go well above it, somewhere to the upper band of the Bollinger Bands. Similar thing actually is happening with Holochain. You see this was the first attempt, failed, Now we had the resistance which recently was broken, and now we are pinning through the baseline, aiming to reach the upper band, or at least stay in the upper part of the Bollinger Bands. Stochastic RSI are bullish. And this is the example what is happening when the altcoin is breaking above the baseline of the Bollinger Bands. You see, this is Binance coin. It started to rise much earlier than the others, and actually the whole bear market wasn't that bad for Binance coin. So as soon as it broke the baseline and it managed to keep this rising trend sustainable, the only thing which happened is that it actually tested the baseline once again and bounced off this baseline, aiming to reach new highs. And by the way, if you didn't see this before, this is the trend line on a logarithmic time scale for Binance coin to BTC, and the bounce happens just from this trend line. And here is the coin which I personally like and I'm looking to buy. Actually, I did buy a little bit. This is Horizon, like Horizon plus Zencash, Zen BTC, and you see that it already made 1 second attempt, so it seemed to be stronger before, but now we have a weakness over here. But I don't think that we will actually drop to the lower band. RSI seem to be having a bullish divergence over here, and moreover on a shorter time scale like daily, we already see that at this point we have a very low stochastic, very low RSI. So every time it happened, we see the move to the upside. So I'm not quite sure how far it will go, but I tend to think that it is time to rise for Zen. Moreover, if you look at TD sequential, then you would see that now we had the red 9 followed by green 1, which usually a sign for the reversal, like it happened here. Reversal to the upside, or here for example also. So I think it's another confirmation of this thing is going up. You can look to the other things like TTM squeeze. It also seems to be indicating that the bears are getting weaker and the price is about to go higher. But again, this is just my opinion. It's quite a risky deal, so be careful with that. But in any case, those are opportunities which I see in the market. You pretty much can pick any other altcoins and see the similar picture. And as soon as this formation will play out, we will see more gains on altcoins in the near future. Of course, guys, as usual, not a financial advice, just my personal opinion. But the thing which I don't touch from the altcoins perspective, this is, for example, Atom or Cosmos. I know this is really hyped with the gains it brought, but first, it's very overbought considering the overall market. I don't think that this is a good idea to buy things which grew that much. I mean, from the risk to reward ratio perspective, this is a very risky deal, and we don't have much of the history of the chart to make any reasonable TA here. So the most important thing which I can say about this coin is that it is too overpriced right now for me to touch it. Pretty much the same I can tell about Bitcoin SV. I know your points. I know that it was like $60 and then it became $100 and now it is like $230. But you probably know why it happened, right? It happened because of the news that Craig Wright made an application for the authorship of Bitcoin white paper and the original code and got this application registered, but that means pretty much nothing actually. And despite of that, people are continuing to buy it despite of the old delistings and everything. And you may not know, but here is the news on CoinDesk. Scammers boost BSV price with fake Satoshi confirmations. And indeed, some of the articles were written that he actually gained the authorship or something. And also a lot of the misleading information were posted on Chinese media and social networks, and something like Craig Wright transferred 50k of Bitcoin from Satoshi's address and everything, but this is actually not real. So Chinese retail is the best heard ever. It's like claiming that this was the effect from Chinese buyers, to the price of Bitcoin SV. But in any case, from the technical analysis, even from the technical analysis perspective, getting into the asset which so much overbought right now, it's absolutely crazy. Yes, it can go even higher, guys, but it's basically the same as playing lottery. Yes, you may win, but the chances for that are really low. Okay, that is it for today. Let's see what will happen with the price and dominance. Safe trading, guys. Goodbye.